buyer consultation interview. The buyer consultation is really centered around what I would describe as a planned presentation process. Now, a champion agent softly leads the client into questioning through foreshadowing the next steps. So here are a few scripts that are going to lead you into the questions. And the first would be, my experience, Bob and Mary, has been that if we spend more time on the front end by clearly understanding your needs, it'll take less time in the car, and I surely don't want to waste your time by showing you homes that you wouldn't like and wouldn't want to purchase. So let's take the time now so we can clearly understand your needs, wants, and desires, so we can zero in on the homes and get a better handle on your needs and desires for today's marketplace. Another option would be, my job is to uncover and understand your needs. It's to educate you on the marketplace and what's currently available and what you can get for your dollars based on today's market conditions. As well as, when we get to that position of identifying a property, negotiate in your earnest and on your behalf for your interest and help arrange financing if it's necessary. Your job functionally is to buy the home when we get that zeroed in. Does that make sense? Or another one that's very simple is, do you have any questions? At this point, you pull the interview questions out of the file. They don't have any questions. Now I might ask you some questions. Do you mind if I take a few notes? And then that leads you into getting into the interview. Too many agents skip this part of the buying process. They kind of move straight from the initial phone discussion with the prospect to showing property. And in fact, I use the word discussion because I don't think that most people even use interviewing, counseling, or consultative techniques in the first contact call. They're so excited that they have a live prospect that has some level of motivation, they almost lose their head and they rush out to show the property. From my view, the initial section in a champion's buyer interview is defining their role in the process. And the average consumer knows very little about the role of the real estate agent. They may think that they know, but they really don't know. Other than driving people around and finding homes for them, they functionally are clueless of what an agent really does. So we've got to define what I would describe as the fundamental role. And the fundamental role when representing a buyer is to help them select and acquire their next home. That's the base level fundamental role. But that includes evaluating the marketplace. And it includes, you must blend their wants and their desires and their needs and factor in the financial parameters with the overall goal of selecting the best property for them and their family. So there's a multifaceted amalgam of services there. We have a very defined role, yet if you ask most agents to articulate what they do or what their role is in representing a buyer, and what value they bring to the process, they'd be pretty hard-pressed to articulate what it is. And that would be true even if you talk to some very established, experienced agents. They don't functionally know either. If you are still skeptical, at your next sales meeting, I'd ask you to do one thing, and that is to ask the general question. How would you explain our role in a real estate transaction when talking initially with a buyer? And open that up to discussion. And you're going to hear some of the goofiest thoughts and cornball responses that you've ever heard in your whole life. I guarantee it. Because most people have never thought strategically in the sales process in the real estate industry of what they're doing. Now, you might convey it this way from a script. My job is to help you evaluate the marketplace and evaluate the opportunities and the values in that marketplace. Then make the best selection for you and your family. Then I can help you acquire the home that meets your family's and financial needs in a manner that reduces stress and anxiety that's associated with buying a new home. Now, the other option is you can do what I would describe as a more global buyer script, which is, my focus is the creation of lifetime clients. My role is to provide a service to people who place a high value on integrity, high ethical standards, and successful results. My job is to provide objective counseling and professional, knowledgeable representation in the field of real estate. and help somebody acquire a properly selected piece of property that can be a building block for their family unit and their financial present and financial future. Assisting them in achieving their goals and dreams for themselves and their family is my fundamental role. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can convey that to a client, they're going to go, wow, he really understands what he's doing. Either of these scripts, if you practiced and perfected their use, would set the stage within a very few minutes, whether that stage was in an open house, whether that stage was at your office, whether that stage is over the phone, that you're a different kind of agent than they've ever met before. You could further define your role in those ad calls and sign calls and open house attendees or even floor time even further, but you could secure them right now. The sooner you can position yourself as different, the more willing they are to consider working with you. It is our job to better educate the consumer as to our role and our function in a real estate transaction. They know it's changed because they've been reading about it in the newspaper, and they know things are changing in the last 4 or 5 years, and they know all the information is available on the web, and they think that their use of a real estate agent, especially full fee agents, is a thing of the past because the media has been telling them that. So the better we can define our role and function and convey it quickly and early in the relationship, the higher the probability of securing the client, the higher probability of getting them away from the other agents, the higher the probability of earning a fee and a higher fee, and the higher probability of creating a satisfied client overall, which is functionally the goal that we're trying to accomplish.